Welcome everybody. I have another product review and it's a product I've never, at first I thought I've never seen something like this, but actually I have seen something similar. It's from Lightwish. It's the Handmade Metallic Soft Pastels. And yes, metallic soft pastels. You get 24 colors. It arrives in a plastic box. I'm not sure why. Usually the products I received recently, all the products, no matter which brand, came in a cardboard box. And I prefer a cardboard box compared to a plastic box, but maybe it's because of the moisture that is more it's more secure, probably. I don't know. That's not important. It just comes as it is with that sheet of paper and a set of 24 handmade metallic soft pastels. They look really gorgeous, and at first I thought I've never seen something like this, but I have some pearlescent soft pastels, and these are the pan pastels. That's not a pearlescent one, but these are pan pastels, and they also have pearlescent soft pastels. So let's try them, I would say. I will swatch them for you at first in my white sketchbook. This is a Canson graduate drawing sketchbook, and I'm using this for just for material play. And I will also use my Sakura black sketchbook, so you can see how these turn out on black paper. That's the white, I would say. It's almost invisible, but it gives you a really lovely shimmer. Not sure if you can see this on camera. There is a number and also a name on that wrap, on the paper wrap. And that is just called pearlescent. That's the apricot. To me it looks more yellow than apricot. I really like to smooth soft pastels with my fingers because I'm just used to do that in my sketchbook, but you grab a lot of pigment and get it off the page, so it's much more intense when you leave it as it is. Maybe blow it a bit, but I don't like to blow it because then everything is covered in pigment, and I think then you should use a fixative for that later. Oh my god, that happens. They are still so big, and when you touch the plastic surface here, the plastic box, you will get a lot of pigment off. Ooh, that's nice. That's a pearl is golden. That's the name. That's why I do it, because there is a lot of powder left, and then I just want to bring the powder to the paper. That's why I usually use my fingers to blend that in. I think these are definitely really nice to create backgrounds for cards or for tags or whatever. And I also have a nice idea in mind how you could use them with some stamps. That is it's really hard to read because it's written so small. Deep interference yellow. I think they are quite similar. When you see these three colors, there is not much of a difference. They are very similar. This is a little bit lighter. That's the green gold. Next we have the royal gold. That looks a bit darker. I will speed that up now a little bit so you don't get bored. I think the color names are not that important to know, because you can't buy them individually. It's just a set. So okay, I'm done with the swatches, and you can see most of them are very powdery and soft, except of these 4 colors. They are very hard, and this one almost didn't get onto the paper. I don't know why. Sometimes these soft pastels have kind of a skin on them, and you have to work that away. Yeah, you get a lot of powder. What I usually use soft pastels for is in my sketchbook, but not metallic ones. I use normal ones. But what I like doing is blending them with water. That gives them kind of a fix, and you get a really interesting texture once it's dry. I use that technique a lot with landscapes, and that works quite well. They mix with water perfectly. So you could apply them and then create a metallic background just by applying water and let that dry. And that gives a really interesting effect. Really nice. That's really nice. I think that's something I would use them for. That's what I like doing in this journal. I just like to experiment with new materials, and also sometimes with old materials, and I'm combining materials, and I explore how materials work with each other. Also, these work quite nice with water. I don't know, these turquoisey ones are a bit weak, I would say. I like the copper colors and the browns, and also the more natural greens, these ones. That's really nice, I think. Definitely a good idea to use them with water. Let's have a look at them on the black paper, how they cover, how they show up. And now I will have a lot of metallic powder all over my desk. I only have one black sketchbook, and that's the Sakura in black. Let's have a look. There you can see the pearlescent. Again, I will speed the swatches up a little bit because that takes a while. Okay, I have swatched them on that black paper, and they are covering the paper quite nicely. These were still quite hard to get down. The others are very powdery, especially this one. That's extreme. But so, it's very, I think it's really nice how it looks on that black paper. And I want to show you a technique that I would use these pastels for, I think. That might be really interesting for all the card makers, stampers, or scrapbook creators. I think they might be also not bad to work with in a sketchbook because they are a little bit, they are shiny and metallic, but not overly. So I would say it might be possible to use them in the sketchbook for background. So I will now get set up and I will share another technique, or a technique that I would use them with. Okay, now let's try the technique I wanted to show you. I'm using the Versamark ink pad. And some stamps. These are the butterflies from my Pencil Marks 8 stamp set. I will link all the products, as always, in the video description. Maybe I have a discount code for the Pastels. Check that out. That might be, and if I have one, it will also be in the description. Perhaps it would be better to stamp a bigger background and then color it, and then cut the size you want the paper to be. That's the flashing copper, and let's combine it with that reddish kind of color, and maybe with a little bit of gold. There's, no, I think that's too dark. That's nice. And now I'm just moving the pigments. I'm pressing the pigment a little bit to the paper so they get stuck to the stamped image, to the ink. And then I would just, well, you get a lot of leftover pigment there. Then I would just wipe the leftover pigment away, so the butterfly stands out a lot better. I think you don't have to fix this with a fixative because of the ink. Probably heat set it, as it's a Versamark ink. I don't know if this will then stick better. Oh, look at that. It's really beautiful, and that's a really nice way to make card backgrounds or decoration for scrapbook albums, something like that. And I tried this technique also on white paper, and that works similarly. It's really nice. Yeah, I think if you don't have any pearlescent powdery colors, these are really nice. And they are probably easier to apply than a loose metallic powder, because you get that stick. Unfortunately, one of them broke, but that's often the risk with soft pastels, that they break. Yeah, really nice. I think a really nice way to use them. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Check the soft pastels out. I will link them up in the video description, and I hope you will see us next time. Bye.